astaghfirullah, right? That is a deep sleep. So then the angels say, go to sleep the sleep of that groom who knows that the next morning his beloved will wake him up. Right? That peaceful sleep of the night of the wedding. After the wedding, Allahul Musta'an. Yani, what happens, right? But that night of the wedding, we have that peaceful sleep. This is in the hadith, by the way. That نومة العروس الذي لا يوقظه إلا أحب أهلي إليه. Go to sleep, that sleep that you know now that the next morning who's going to wake me up? The most beloved person in the world is going to wake me up. That gentle waking up that will happen the next morning. You can look forward to that. Now the angels say to him, go to sleep, that type of sleep. Now what is this sleep? Allahu A'lam, we don't know what it is. It's the Alamul Barzakh. But we can understand what it is. It is a type of trance. You just go and you freeze up, basically, a peaceful sleep, and you look forward to being woken up. It's not a terror, it's not an adhab. You are now in a limbo state, and you will remain that way until the resurrection. And the final point, and then we open the floor for Q&A. And this is in fact proven in the Quran. قالوا يا ويلنا من بعثنا من مرقدنا. They will say, Waylana here doesn't necessarily mean adhab. So, oh my God, what's happening? There's also wail. What's going on here? There's a state of discomfort. قالوا يا ويلنا من بعثنا من مرقدنا. Who has brought us back from our place of sleep? Marqad in Arabic is ismu makanin, is a noun, proper noun for the place where you sleep. Or more technically, where you go take a nap. This is marqad. This is literally what marqad means. Where you take a nap, the qaylula, the siesta. Because you go to sleep in some cultures, you would have an inner private bedroom. Then you would have just a place outside where you just sleep for a while. That's the marqad over there. And this indicates, what were the people of the Barzakh? Asleep. Asleep, the sleep of the Barzakh. That's what this hadith proves. Now, who is this given to? It is given to the righteous person. As for the unrighteous, we seek Allah's refuge, they will not go to sleep. They will not be in, because sleep is bliss. Sleep, you just are in, you forget the worries of this world and even in the Barzakh. As for the unrighteous, we ask Allah's refuge, there is no sleep for them. What is it? Adhab. And we will talk about the types of adhab and the categories of adhab and the main causes of adhab. We'll talk about that inshallah next Wednesday. With that, we open the floor for a few minutes of Q&A inshallah, then we call it a day. Bismillah, yes.
For Na'im al-Qabr, there is a dua is saying, Allahumma ja'al qabri rawdan min riyad al-jannah wa la taj'alha hufran min hufar an-nar.
So the brother is saying, isn't there a dua that, oh Allah, make my qabr one of the gardens of paradise, and do not make my qabr one of the places of Jahannam. And as far as I'm aware, I will confirm with you next week as far as I'm aware, and if I'm mistaken then I will correct this on camera. This is not a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, it is a common dua that is done. So there's nothing wrong with the meaning of this, but it's not as far as I'm aware, and I will check inshallah and confirm by next week inshallah. Yes, go ahead. In the qabr. So the brother says that the good deeds come to the person in the form of a calming and soothing presence. And this is true. We mentioned this 2-3 weeks ago, that the Prophet ﷺ said, when he passes Munkar and Nakir's test, this is after that, a man will come that whose face is the face of bashara, good news. In other words, when some people come and you see serenity and peace, you see this is a person that he is coming, he's happy and whatnot. So the man will say, welcome, marhaban, who are you? Your presence is bringing me calmness and whatnot. So that entity will say, and this is Allah's blessings that He has made this happen. I am your good deeds. I am your good deeds. So the good deeds will take on the symbolic form of an actual human. Now the brother said, will this entity stay with us or not? From the hadith, it seems that it's just a one-off thing. That the entity will come and basically cheer us up. or the opposite to those who have evil deeds. That it is simply of the beginning of the long journey, that the first welcomer that will come will be your good deeds or your evil deeds. And then after that, the rest will happen, and Allah knows best. Sisters, any questions? Yes, go ahead. We will talk about this, inshallah. The question is, the good deeds that come, will we see them in the qabr or from Judgment Day? We'll talk about this. The relationship between the dead and the living, no questions right now. We didn't even start that topic. I will give, inshallah, one of the most detailed lectures, inshallah ta'ala, you have ever heard, because this is a very interesting topic. I'm interested in it. I've done research on this, and everybody wants to know. We'll go into a lot of detail. Good deeds, transferring of good deeds. Can the dead hear? All of these, inshallah. You're in the right class, but not right now. We're still in the Na'im and Adhab. Other things, yes, go ahead, yes, go ahead. Both of you together? Yallah, bismillah.
Two separate questions. So, could you comment on these two ayat, which and how they relate to the subject under discussion? One ayat from Surah Ibrahim, يثبت الله الذين آمنوا بالقول الثابت في الحياة الدنيا وفي الآخرة. And one from Surah Fussilat, where the angels say, نحن أولياؤكم في الحياة الدنيا وفي الآخرة. Comment on these.
So the brother asks about two verses of the Quran. In fact, we did go over them in the very first lecture, and I'll go over them again. يثبت الله الذين آمنوا بالقول الثابت في الحياة الدنيا وفي الآخرة. Allah will make firm with the firm speech. يثبت الله الذين آمنوا بالقول الثابت. Those that are believers, Allah will make firm for them with the firm speech in this world and in the next world. Ibn Abbas said, Allah will bless the mu'min to say La ilaha illallah at the time of death, and Allah will then allow the mu'min to respond to munkar and nakir in the qabr. This is one interpretation, which is inshallah the most obvious one. يثبت الله الذين آمنوا في القول الثابت. Allah will affirm the believer بالقول الثابت is La ilaha illallah. Right? In this world, meaning at the time of death. And in the next world, meaning in the barzakh. As for the next verse, إن الذين قالوا ربنا الله ثم استقاموا تتنزل عليهم الملائكة ألا تخافوا ولا تحزنوا. This is mentioned in the hadith of Bara' bin Azib explicitly. Our Prophet ﷺ made tafsir of this ayah. Our Prophet ﷺ told us what this ayah means. And it means that those who are righteous, Allah will send angels down. تتنزل means in batches and batches. Not nazala, tatanazzal. They are coming down. And our Prophet ﷺ explained, as far as the eye can see, there are angels. Tatanazzal. As far as the eye can see. And their faces are calming faces, bright faces. Bayad al-wujuh. As far as the eye can see. They have the perfumes of Jannah, the shrouds of Jannah. And when they take the ruh out, they will say, أَلَّا تَخَافُوا. Don't be worried about yourself. وَلَا تَحْزَنُوا. Don't be grieved about your family that you're leaving behind. Khawf is for yourself. Huzn for somebody else. You know, everyone will be worried. Who's going to take care of my kids? What's going to happen with my wife? Everything. The angels will say, don't worry. We will take care of them. نَحْنُ أَوْلِيَاؤُكُمْ فِي الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ. We took care of you when you were alive. We will take care of you now that you're with us. We'll take care of them in the next world. So the Prophet ﷺ explained this ayah. Yes, go ahead.
The righteous people, they don't have adab al-qabr, from what I understood. But we're all, as a human being, we have the good and the bad deeds. We as human, as inshallah, as far as the righteous, we still have adab al-qabr.
So the brother says that the righteous people will not have adab al-qabr. Yet all of us, we have some sins, and so we're struggling between piety and sin. Does this mean that we will be saved from adab al-qabr because we are believers? The response is, the believer is always between two emotions. Hope of forgiveness and fear of punishment. It is a sign of iman. It is a sign of iman to be optimistic, inshallah I won't have adab al-qabr. At the same time to be scared, what if I have adab al-qabr? This is iman. Iman, your whole life is lived between these two emotions. You are always hopeful, inshallah Allah will give me Jannah. But then you're scared, what if I don't get Jannah? Oh Allah, protect me from Jahannam. This is the emotion that all of us should have between the optimism and fear. It's called khawf and raja. Sisters, any questions before? Yes, go ahead. Are we allowed to plant the tree on the graves of people? So, As-Suyuti, the famous scholar of Mamluk Egypt, died 911. You will always remember that date, 911. That's the year he died. Suyuti died 911 Hijrah, not CE. Suyuti, one of the greatest scholars of Egypt of his time, and the student of Hafidh ibn Hajar. Actually, he met Ibn Hajar. As-Suyuti wrote a treatise on this Adab al-Qabr issue, and he mentions in it that because the Prophet ﷺ planted a stalk, we too should plant stalks. So he did that. However, other Shafi'i scholars, he was a Shafi'i scholar, and other scholars of the madhabs, they generally disagreed with this reasoning. And they said that, and we're going to come to this hadith next week actually, that the Prophet ﷺ passed by a qabr and he put a leaf or a stalk in it. And he said, these people are being punished for whatever thing, we'll talk about that next week, and Allah will lift their punishment or make it less as long as these two stalks are still wet. Okay, so based on this, As-Suyuti said, well, in that case, we should put stalks in all of the qabrs and whatnot. But the response, I think anybody knows. Is this something that the Prophet ﷺ did for the rest of us to do, or is this something khas and unique that Allah blessed him? Obviously, one of us to do it, what good will that do compared to the Prophet ﷺ, right? So the issue comes here with respect to this great scholar of Islam. If this had been something that would have eliminated adab al-qabr, the Sahaba would have gone around every qabr doing it themselves. And the Tabi'un would have done it to the Sahaba's qabr. And this would have been something that the Ummah is doing to all the qubur. But the context says, how did the Prophet even know? I mean, how would any one of us know? We would not know. The Prophet knew. Jibreel or whatever told him. Even if we know somehow, will my sticking a rose or something actually help? Obviously not. So the Prophet's maqam is so high, he is making shafa'ah. He's saying, as long as these are still moist, inshaAllah ta'ala, they will remain without being punished. So this is the point, inshaAllah. Yes, go ahead. Does the adab al-qabr compensate for the adab of Judgment Day? So there are two categories of people. We'll mention this in more detail next week. There's two categories of people. The first of them, those that are destined to go to Jahannam. They will enter Jahannam. Those people, the adab al-qabr is a prelude. It is a teaser to adab of Jahannam. In other words, they will be punished in the Barzakh, and then they will be punished even worse in the fire of hell. So for them, the adab al-qabr is actually just a teaser. And this is actually explicit in the Quran. We'll talk about this next week, that وَإِنَّ لِلَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا عَذَابًا دُونَ ذَلِكَ وَلَكِنَّ أَكْثَرَهُمْ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. The people who do shirk, Allah mentions the fire of hell. Then He says, and the people who do this shirk, they will have a punishment that is lesser than that punishment as well. But most people don't know. Now this is a really interesting verse. The people of the people of shirk will go to Jahannam. Then Allah says, but they will have a punishment دُونَ ذَلِكَ, lesser than that as well. What is this punishment? It is mentioned in the Quran. We'll talk about this next week as well. That وَحَاقَ بِآلِ فِرْعَوْنَ سُوءَ الْعَذَابِ, that the family of Fir'aun will be punished severely. النَّارُ يُعْرَضُونَ عَلَيْهَا غُدُوًّا وَعَشِيًّا وَيَوْمَ تَقُومُ السَّاعَةِ أَدْخِلُوا آلَ فِرْعَوْنَ أَشَدَّ الْعَذَابِ. The Fir'aun people, the people of Fir'aun, the family of Fir'aun will be punished severely. How? The fire will be shown to them morning and evening. Shown to them. يُعْرَضُونَ. They will be shown the fire of hell. Then on Judgment Day, it will be said, enter that fire. So what is this verse? This is adhabul qabr, then it is the actual Jahannam. Now this is the worst category we seek Allah's refuge. There will be a category that our scholars have derived from the generality of the texts. And these are the fasakha of the mu'mineen. These are the fasaqa of the mu'mineen, the evil people of the mu'mineen. So they are not muttaqeen, they are not salihin, because they have no adhab al-qabr. They are those who are committing sins amongst the believers, major sins amongst the believers, and they have not repented. These people, they might be punished in the qabr, and they think they will be punished in Jahannam. And their thinking they're punished in Jahannam is itself a punishment. But on Judgment Day, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive them. And I've just given you 10 minutes of next Wednesday's lecture. This was all for next Wednesday. We'll go into more detail inshallah next Wednesday. I'll repeat all of this all over again for the lecture. And with that inshallah we conclude. Wa jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.